What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the remote front office. Before we start, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn the notification bells on, all the YouTuber stuff, right? We are slowly approaching 20 subscribers, hoping to get there before the start of the season. But today we are doing a Warriors off-season outlook, hashtag Splash Brothers. So, players that the Warriors lost or traded in free in this off-season period. Patrick Baldwin Jr. was a part of the trade to Washington, which we'll get into a little bit more here in a bit. Dante DiVincenzo went to the Knicks to play with his former college teammates of Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. JaMychal Green still is unsigned. I don't know if he comes back. I think they're hosting a bunch of workouts. I don't think his name was on that list. Iggy is still unsigned. I'm assuming he's retiring. And then he'll probably come back as a consultant or a coach, or however you want to phrase it. Ty Jerome is going to the Cavs. Not really surprised there. Anthony Lamb is still a free agent. Had some promising moments, but I don't know if he'll end up getting a roster spot back. Jordan Poole was the main part of the trade to Washington. And then Ryan Rollins was also in the trade to Washington. As far as guys brought in, they signed Corey Joseph from Detroit. They brought in Chris Paul, who was a part of the Washington deal. And then they also brought in Dario Saric. And then re-signed. They brought back Draymond Green on a 4 for $100 deal. That was really about it. So, to recap here, Chris Paul is a part of this roster. I would assume he's a sixth man, sometimes starter. I don't love the idea of having him, Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond as like a full-time starting five. I do still kind of like the Looney, Draymond double big lineup for at least most of their games. Just I understand it messes with the spacing, messes with the shooting. I just think having him out there as far as a rebounder, defender, been in the system, that sort of thing. Also, I'm really curious as far as their wing depth is going to go because they didn't really do anything to change that this offseason. I understand you have Wiggs. I understand Clay's kind of more of obviously a wing at this point. You have Jonathan Kuminga. You have Moses Moody. But other than that, I feel like there still needs to be another wing or two in this rotation, preferably a vet they don't have to teach the system to. They also got a lot older with Chris Paul as opposed to Jordan Poole. But I do like Chris Paul for as far as keeping Steph off the ball. Having a Chris Paul Draymond pick and roll when they're running the small lineup. And you have Steph and Clay out there running around. Wiggins cutting, Draymond on the short roll. That lineup makes a lot of sense to me, right? I just think it's not going to be a lineup you run for 20 minutes a game. Maybe it's a lineup you run for 5 to 10 minutes a game, right? The other reason I do like this is I think it preserves Chris Paul throughout the regular season. He's not asked to carry as much of a weight, and he's not asked to necessarily play game to game. He can sit out games. He can play like 50-ish games this year, right? And maybe play like 6-man minutes. And I just think that helps a lot. Dario Saric, we'll see. He showed positive flashes coming back from his injury. I do like him kind of as a backup center for this team. I understand he's not going to bring the defense for it, but he will, I think, bring the spacing, shooting, passing, a little bit of a ball handle, kind of Draymond light offensively, right? Other than that, though, I would still like to see them bring in another wing. Obviously, I would like to see them bring back Andre Iguodala as a coach. I just think that makes the most sense, as considering he's been a part of this roster for so long. I think he can speak to the core guys better than anybody else can, obviously, right? You've got Steve Kerr, who's got the relationship with him. But as far as just like the day-to-day, I think Iggy is the perfect guy for that. Other than that, though, I know they are hosting workouts over the next couple of weeks for guys like Juan Toscano Anderson, a couple different guys in that range. I wouldn't mind seeing JTA back on the team. Obviously, he's not going to play a whole lot of minutes, but I just like his energy, defense, his versatility. I think they need that again. So just to have him in one of those end of bench slots, I think would be really beneficial. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot of moves they can make. I do expect them to be a home court team this year. I do think that, obviously, pending injuries, right? But I do just think with having the guys there for another year, you have Chris Paul now to kind of fill in when Steph's gone, because that was a really big issue last year, is when Steph was gone, it was like, oh my God, how does this team work, right? Granted, will it be the exact same system as when Steph's there? No, but I think it'll be kind of just a new. Chris Paul knows how to run an offense, right? Chris Paul's an adult. He's been in big games. He knows how to run an offense. So I think that's just kind of what they needed. My biggest concern with this team is honestly off the court. I know Draymond and Chris Paul don't necessarily get along, so I am curious as to how that dynamic is going to go throughout an entire season. I have a feeling if it goes poorly, Chris Paul is traded at the deadline, maybe for just a guy on an extra year deal or something like that, because it seems like Golden State wants to retain that cap slot, right? It was the KD cap slot that went into D'Lo, that went into Wiggins, and then you kind of transitioned as Jordan Poole got his deal. Now you're wanting to keep his cap slot. So I just think personally that is probably the direction they'll go if this doesn't work out. But that's my thoughts on this team. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.